morning, beautiful crones. I'm Wendy from Leash. I'm still currently in Bali, and I am at Tejakula in the very north of Bali, a beautiful, sleepy fishing village, but they also have a big salt production going on here. And when you go swimming in the oceans here, you just float so easily. It's just so salty and it feels so good and grounding. So I'm loving it. I want to talk to you about what it means to be a crone in these days and times that we're into. And I see so many crones here, Balinese crones, and they're the backbone of this country. They work so hard. They have to work. They don't have any help from their government, monetary-wise. And I see them carrying rocks bigger than I could carry for a metre on their heads for a whole day, up and down, up and down, up and down the beach, trying to build some building. While the men just dig a few holes here and there waiting for them. They get up early in the morning, they make all their breakfast for the family. That's their tradition. They make the food for the day in the morning, and it sits there and people just get to eat it when they want. There's no actual sitting around a table. Normally they sit on a floor on a mat. And after they've done that, they normally would take their grandchildren. If they've got grandchildren, there is no daycare system here. The children come straight to the grandmothers in the morning while the younger people go off and work. And work they do as well. So life in Bali is pretty hard on the women, though they're extremely happy still. They love it. They wouldn't change it. But I can't imagine us Westerners carrying big baskets of rocks and stones and sand and gravel on our heads day in, day out, all day, probably with half-hour lunch. And that lunch is not very nutritious. So us Westerners, we have a different lifestyle. And our lifestyle allows us to, even though, what I'm saying is, even though we don't have that problem of having to work, we have a lot of other mind problems where we let the old lady in, and we stop working, we stop playing, we stop singing and dancing. We just stop, and we get old, and we allow the old in, because that's what you do when you're a crone in the Western world. You're looked on, or you think you're looked on, and you probably are, as older. Just go over there in the corner and sit and behave yourself. But I'm here to tell you, you have many adventures, even in this age. I'm 70 this year, so it's a bit scary. But I'm in my prime of adventure. I'm doing lots of travels in Bali, doing lots of things I have never done before, like snorkeling. That was a bit challenging because it's a whole breathing technique that I nearly with all the breathing through the snorkel. I had the yawns after a while because I hadn't had so much oxygen. So I think I might continue that because I feel that it's probably really good for my lungs. But also, we have to allow ourselves to be. And that's what I found, that to be in this situation as a crone, a maga, we have to allow ourselves to be. And you don't have to follow any path. You don't have to be that spiritual guru or that teacher or that person that facilitates anything. Just being is spiritual in itself. And we forget that. We think we've got to be doing something to go out to that event or this event and really look like we're actually advancing. When we are advanced, we're very big wisdom keepers. We're like a Lemurian crystal. We hold all the memory of the earth. And to have that challenge of just being in the now and not thinking you have to be somewhere or do something. Bali dogs, they're a big thing in Bali. They bark all night and all day. So Bali is about being tolerant as well. And I've learned a lot about being tolerant. You know, in the West, we don't tolerate much. We complain, but it's a good place to learn these lessons. And patience. They call it rubber time here. You don't expect everything to come on time. Just relax. It'll come. Might be a 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 2 hours. It'll come, you know. So I think being a crone is we have to, and a marga, we have to really look at our lives and just say, okay, it's okay not to be anything, and to drop into our creative self and find our bliss. And our bliss is what makes us happy, what makes our heart sing, and also what makes us grow younger. Growing younger is really important in the mind, body and soul. We've got to eat right, we've got to think right, we've got to walk right, and we've just got to be in the now. And it's really hard because in the Western world, I know when I was back in Ravenshoe, it was a challenge. I had to clean everything all the time. I had to do, had to be, had to think I should be at this event or that event to be more spiritual. I had to be that person out the front. Whereas here I've learnt to just to be. And it's, go on, go away. And it's a challenge. But don't let that old lady in. Find things that you love to do, and it's time you did them now. If you don't do them now, when are you going to do them? Stop and think about that. What if you keep saying, I'm going to do that one day? Well, the one day is now. Our world is topsy-turvy, and we've got to do it by being the best we can be, and that's the way we change the world. It really is, and how we change our spiritual self. I've got some Bali cleansing cards here, or blessing cards, sorry, and I'm going to pull one. Get them out of the box. They're little tiny cards. I'm going to pick one. Because the Balinese really have taught me a lot about just life in general, you know? It's just, prayer is their thing. That's what they do daily. They go and they worship their little cement temples in their gardens all the time. But to them, that's their God, their Hindu God. That's where it lies in their heart. If they go and offer some incense and flowers and food in their little offering bowls that they make, they feel like they've done their job for the day, spiritually. And I find it really beautiful because it's nothing that we push ourselves to do. It's a way of life, you know. So anyway, I'm going to pull some of these blessing cards, one of these blessing cards. So let me help. Oh, they're all mixed up. So hang on, I'll just make sure they're all facing the right way, so I don't see what I'm going to pick. Yesterday I got adventure, and it happened to be the day I was going on an adventure with my daughter up to Tejacula, up to Lavina to see some friends. And we actually hired a car, and it's not for the faint of heart to drive in Bali. It's no road rules, which is a good thing. But it's if you get into the flow of being patient and driving in that way of life, it gives you another challenge to look at how to live, to be in the flow, just to let things pass. You pass that, you pull in, they pull out. And it's just an amazing little experience to show us what life should be in our older age, in our sunshine, sunset and sunrise years. But don't let that old person in. Honestly, if you do, you lose your bliss, your spirit. Okay, so now I'm going to pull a card. Let me see what I have to do today. Trust. So we're going to trust. Because we left Clive at home at our villa up in Ahmed. And this adventure is going to take us places. Up to Lavina, we're going to see the dolphins. We're going to swim with the dolphins, we hope. And I'll get to interview some more beautiful friends, ladies, sisters, and trust. I like that. I need some trust today because I've got to trust in the way because I'm the driver today. Yesterday, Shanoa was the driver. Today I'm driving because we have to go through the city of Singaraja and she's not real keen on that. Anyway, beautiful sisters, love you. Stay in your bliss, find your bliss and trust. Bye.